With the International Space Station set to be decommissioned soon, NASA is keen to establish another base for humanity in the world beyond. But rather than build another space station, the space agency is much more inclined towards building a village on the moon that'd do everything the ISS currently does and much more. So it's time to unravel how special will this moon village be and how exactly would things work there. About 5 decades ago, Apollo 17 landed on the moon. The event was celebrated all across the world, perhaps almost as much as the first landing by Neil Armstrong and Edwin Buzz Aldrin on the 20th of July, 1969. Since then, all our attempts to return to the lunar surface have failed, but with the launching of the Artemis Mission, humanity is all set to return to the moon. We're going back to the moon for scientific discovery, economic benefits, and inspiration for a new generation of explorers, the Artemis generation, a statement on NASA's official website read. In addition, the Artemis project will help to emphasize and amplify the role of the United States as the world leader in space exploration, whilst also opening an avenue for a new global alliance between NASA and other prominent space agencies across the world. More importantly, our journey this time into the lunar world wouldn't be a one-off like it always has been in the past. In fact, NASA has specifically designed the Artemis mission to facilitate our long-term stay on the lunar surface. And by long-term, we don't mean just a couple of days or weeks, because NASA and the European Space Agency plan is to establish a permanent lunar base for humans, and that's where the Moon Village project comes in. To be clear, the concept of the Moon Village isn't going to be a village per se. A moon village shouldn't just mean some houses, a church, and a town hall, said Johann Dietrich Werner, the Director General of the European Space Agency, in 2015. This moon village should mean partners from all over the world contributing to this community, with robotic and astronaut missions and support communication satellites. Several years after Johann made this comment, it looks like our generation might be the first one to witness a base for humans on the moon. In truth, scientists have had plans to build a moon village as far back as 2006. Back then, the ESA seemed to be more interested in the project than NASA. In fact, at the peak of the campaign, a Moon Village Association, aka MVA, was set up to spearhead the planning session. This association was a non-governmental organization with about 150 members from across the world, working closely with the ESA to actualize the goal. It is important to note that the Moon Village will not be a single science research facility like the ISS. Instead, it will be a diverse community of projects pioneered by relevant stakeholders across different fields, including economic, cultural, and scientific, under a strict and efficient coordination mechanism. Furthermore, this proposed village will act as a catalyst to breed a renewed alliance between public and private entities across the space industry and even beyond. More importantly, the Moon Village will create a platform for inspirational and educational work for present and future generations. And it's needless to say that it could be used as an entertainment hub for tourists and inquisitive explorers as well. The initial master plan for the Moon Village included a supply line that would see spacecraft deliver several tons of cargo to the moon base every week. However, the budget for the mission was slashed after the ESA got busy with other projects and NASA launched the Constellation program. To avoid a repeat of this dilemma, the renewed interest to build a moon village will be through a public-private collaboration that will involve several private entities and, of course, NASA and the ESA. According to reports, the proposed moon village will be located on the lunar South Pole, somewhere around the Shackleton crater. A few regions there are believed to have persistent sunlight, which could be important for creating and sustaining our presence on the moon. It's no secret that to set up a base on the moon, we'll need to transport millions of tons of cargo to the lunar surface. This is no doubt going to be a Herculean task, especially considering the recent estimate that was drawn up for the potential colonization of Mars and our inability to successfully land a crew mission on the lunar surface in nearly 50 years. For instance, Elon Musk estimates that we'll need to transport about 1 million tons of cargo to Mars to colonize the Martian world. According to the billionaire, this could cost anywhere between $100 billion to $10 trillion. We could be needing just about the same amount to build the Moon Village, and even though the lunar surface is much closer to our Earth, the logistics around the project are not expected to be any easier. So our ability and technology to tap into solar energy will be really important, not only to provide electricity, but also to reduce the overall cost of logistics. Before we're able to set up the large-scale solar energy plant, the early settlers of the Moon Village will rely on portable nuclear power plants to power our equipment. Expectedly, some of the intuitive systems and processes that scientists currently use on the ISS will be implemented in the Moon Village. For instance, scientists on the ISS are able to recycle 90% of its annual water consumption. This is equivalent to 6,000 gallons of water. At the same time, the space station recycles 40% of the oxygen astronauts breathe. But interestingly, the Shackleton crater is said to be cloaked in shadow about 4 kilometers, 2.5 miles, beneath the surface. This is believed to have the perfect condition for the existence of water and rocket fuel components if we can find the right technology to unlock them all. The ability to produce these things on the lunar surface will save us the stress and cost of transporting them all the way from the Earth to the Moon. Admittedly, the Moon Village will be built in modules, just like the ISS. The first stage will see individual landers touch base on the lunar surface near the Shackleton crater. From there, each lander will deploy inflatable modules or domes, which could be similar to average 4-story buildings on Earth. These modules will serve as living areas and workspaces, as well as scientific labs, industrial sites, and environmental habitats. These will be filled with oxygen to help pioneers live in a relatively normal and Earth-like environment. But unfortunately, these inflatable modules are not durable enough to shield humans from harmful elements like radiation, intense temperature swings, or micrometeorite strikes. Hence, the ESA and MVA plans to design robots that will build 3D protective shields around each module using the regolith taken from the lunar surface. According to scientific estimates, the robots will need about 3 months to build the solid dome around each inflatable module on average. Due to the lack of oxygen on the Moon, humans will be unable to walk without a spacesuit on the lunar surface. So, scientists plan to link each module together through a series of pressurized walkways connected to the airlocks. This would enable occupants of the Moon Village to move around from one module to another without wearing spacesuits and other protective gear. Before all of these are achieved, most of our exploration will be done within the confines of the SUV-comfy lunar rovers. More like taxis that will be deployed all around the Moon Village. Judging by the concept released by the Japanese Aerospace Exploration in collaboration with Toyota, the moon taxis will be about the size of 2 minibuses. Eventually, things would get more sophisticated and we could see a range of buildings constructed from natural minerals like moon rocks and soil, metals, or perhaps a repurposed module from the ISS. To avoid intense cosmic radiation and meteorite attacks, permanent settlement domes could be built inside the deep craters that are overly abundant on the Moon. Critically, the first settlers on the Moon will most likely be scientists, researchers, and ultra-rich entrepreneurs who invest in the project. Ordinary Earthlings could also have a fair chance of visiting the village once it is all set and ready. Aside from all the benefits we've highlighted already, the Moon Village will be an avenue to create wealth and employment thanks to the opportunities to mine things like gold, cobalt, iron, platinum, palladium, and helium-3 amongst others. In fact, the return of investment is expected to be mind-blowing. This makes the idea of a Moon Village even more interesting, but at the moment, it's an ambition that we can only dream of. With the Artemis mission being scrubbed multiple times, NASA has a lot to rethink before setting eyes on building a Moon Village.